Hey, good morning, thrifters of all shapes, sizes, colors, creeds, ages, heights. What's going on? What's going
I think
on?
that covers about everybody, right?
Yeah, I hired a new assistant, and I've said this before, but I built this office for me. The shipping table is for me. It's high, it's deep, it's long, and yeah, she's the same height as Stacy. So her first question was, "Where's the step ladder?"
It's
But
your
the
fault.
good, I always said marry the person opposite your height because she does well on the bottom shelves, which I do not do well on. So, when we're together, match made in heaven.
Is that actual like relationship advice that you hand out?
Oh, I
If you're
do.
tall, date somebody short. If you're
If
short,
you
date
have
somebody
not
tall.
yet found your life partner, try and find someone the opposite height. So if you're tall, short, short, that way, top shelf, bottom shelf, in the middle is always covered.
That would
Always.
that would work. Well, we
Also,
got to say good
separate
afternoon for all
bathrooms.
the wet East Coast people.
Yeah, good
That's who we left out
afternoon.
at the beginning, where
Yeah,
it is not morning.
that's true. Afternoon, East Coasters, what's going on? So, hey, did you know, Chris Green, that this weekend is a major holiday?
I figured it out later than I probably should have. Although I feel that I have a little bit of an excuse where I hate using the word excuse. However, it's not like July 4th was like on a Friday or Saturday or Sunday or Monday, which like makes it really obvious, right? If you're like, no, like July 3rd, July 4th. No, like it's on a Tuesday, which is kind of like it's like the not. I mean, you could see it in a good way. If it's on Tuesday, you're probably gonna get Monday off and Tuesday, but it doesn't make that perfect 3-day weekend that I think more people like or people like me are just used to. So yes, it did creep up on me, and I did not pay attention
Yeah, I learned the
because it
hard way early on when we only had auctions on eBay, so no buy it nows. I didn't think, what's 7 days from now? Oh, it's Christmas. Not a good day to have auctions. So you're like, cool, I'm gonna list some stuff. I'm gonna get some stuff done. Live. Oh crap. 7 days from now, it's New Year's Eve. No one's gonna pay attention.
I remember that, and I think people forget like the just how much control we have over our listings compared to
Yeah.
used to be okay. When are you going to list it? And I remember this like okay, well Sunday night was kind of this like good time to have things end because
Yep.
generally people were at home, they're getting ready for the week or to go back to work on Monday. Sunday night was that end auction kind of sweet spot. But of course, if everybody's doing the sweet spot, then you can kind of there's a downside to maybe blending in and like there's just too much noise. But you couldn't just. I mean, there are very few like programs that would like schedule listings for you unless you like would do it yourself manually or be by the computer and all this stuff. And it's kind of weird to think back to some of these things. And yeah, I would do the exact same thing where I'm not planning ahead and be like, well, what is it 7 days from now? Like, no, it's a Sunday. Oh, it's Christmas Day, right? It's New Year's Eve. It's like
Yeah.
dummy. Like, no, like it makes sense when you see it, but it can be hard to kind of really pay attention to it in those super early days of eBay.
And so when you did your free webinar last week and you set up this new summer challenge, you were like, oh, I have it start in the week of July 4th.
Yeah, because I was looking at the calendar, which I rarely do. You know, so I'm like, okay, I got to plan this out. Okay, when it's got it. We can't start so late. If it's a 10-week challenge, and all of a sudden we're into like fall, and depending
Right.
if you're
Yeah.
in like the Northeast, and like the yard sales start to go away if the weather gets a little chilly. So I was like, okay, well we got to start. We start in the beginning of July. That's 10 weeks. It'll be warm. Whole country will have access to thrift stores, estate sales, yard sales. It'll be perfect. It was like, oh wait a minute. I think it was actually Jen who said that's like July 4th weekend. I was like, oh. And honestly, for me, like we don't like go anywhere for July 4th weekend. Like family will come over, we'll cook out. Like our lives aren't terribly different. Like we don't generally travel. So I was like, oh, well, it's not a big deal. Like we still do this. And then you have to remember, like, oh, other people travel, other people go to town, other people get away from their phones. They're not on their computer. And the number of estate sales and yard sales currently listed in my area until again, I knew this and I still didn't pay attention to it. I was like, oh, that's why there's only like 2 estate sales when normally, there's
in
seven,
all of
eight,
New
12.
England.
Yeah. There are still some. I think there are still some, but they're further away. I
You
mean,
are
just like
road
there's
trekking to
fewer.
Augusta, Maine tomorrow.
I might travel to an estate sale farther than I normally would simply because there just aren't that many. And hey, the kids are out of school, so it's not like I'm dropping off at school. I got to like rush over there. I'm gonna
Right,
be there late, and
exactly.
all the good stuff's gonna be gone and stuff like that. Like usually, if there was a Friday sale during the school year, I could drop them off at school, school at 7:45, 8 o'clock, and I could still get to a 9 o'clock start. Or I still go to an 8 o'clock start. I'd still find interesting and profitable things. But now I get the kids are out of school, so yes, I can travel further because normally I wouldn't. Like you drop them off at 8, I can't go to a 2.5 hour yard sale away. Like that doesn't make any sense. So we'll see. It's going to be an interesting weekend, but it will be the start of the first ever Summer Flips Challenge,
Woo-hoo.
and it's going to be fun. We've never done it before, but I do think we have some very fun ways to enjoy summer while also making money and also learning more about what to look for, what not to look for. And I say the more exposure you get to different things, to me, that's what gives you that experience to kind of know what, not just what to look for, but what not to look for. And if you kind of refine those two things, you just get so much faster and more selective about what you look up. Because I still am going to look up everything, right? Like there's rarely a thing that I'm going to buy without looking up, unless it's like, Disney shirts for $1 or like just something that's so inexpensive. It's like I don't need to look this up. It's only $1. Like
Tiki
I'll get
Farm
home.
Tiki mugs for $0.25, things
Yeah,
like
like
that.
if it's not good, it's okay because it was only $1. Like I'm not going to spend that time, even though it's not that much time to look something up. Just put stuff in the bag, get home and look it up later, kind of thing. But the more you do that, you just get this eye for, again, not what to look up, because I'm gonna look it up anyway on my phone before I buy it, but what not to look up. I'm not going to look these things up. I've seen them before. They're common. They're inexpensive. It looks cool, but I've looked it up before and I know it's not worth anything. So I'm not going to waste my time looking it up again. And I swear that's like this kind of secret thing behind the scenes that people don't realize. It's like, I think if you see like a competitor, right? Someone that you've seen out there, they're an eBay seller, they're a flipper, and you just see them walk past things. They're not just walking past them, right? They're looking at them and they're not, and they either know or they have a really good idea that those things aren't worth flipping or not worth looking up, or they're not part of their specific business model. They don't do clothing, or they don't do smalls, they don't do breakables, they don't do games, they don't do whatever it might be. They're making those decisions. You don't see it though. You just see them walk past, right? But I think about that when I walk past something and I look, I'm like, I realize my brain is making a ton of decisions all at one time, saying, no, I'm not looking at Monopoly, right? I've seen that before. I'm not looking those things up. I know they're from Home Goods. I'm not looking those things up. That looks interesting, but I know that I've seen it before. It's from TJ Maxx. Like things like that. Those are decisions that are going on in your head you don't see other people do. So you start to think, oh, it's not about that, when it absolutely is about that. That's exactly what it's about. Because if you can not look up junk, you're going to have more time spent using your phone looking up things that have a good potential or a higher probability of being profitable flips, because we're looking stuff up anyway. That's what I mean. It's like, it's not about what to know. Like even that dive helmet ice bucket, I still looked it up, right? Like I really, really knew. And I probably would have bought it anyway just because it was cool. And I could have been wrong. And it was like, oh, this thing is actually common. Or they remade a cheaper version of it and they sell it, at TJ Maxx. Like could have been. So I still looked it up.
Yep.
But if you're looking up anyway, only look up stuff that has a good chance of being flippable, instead of just saying, hey, I can look up everything. Like look up everything if you want, but holy smokes, like you're gonna want to stab your eyes out. Like it's crazy. Like it's not, looking up stuff is fun. Looking up everything is not fun.
All right. So if you did not make it live to the webinar last week, Chris is doing it tonight, 8 o'clock tonight. Go to the address you see down below there, flips.net/Jason /Jason. I couldn't even say my own name properly. And Chris is going to be talking in depth about using your phone to look up items. And I got to tell you, Chris, when people go to the record stores with me, I think they're actually surprised how much I scan. And I'm the master of flipping music. But what people don't realize, everyone likes music, but most aren't a nerd like I am. I mean, my personal collection is still about 5,000 CDs. And today, when everything can be streamed and digital, I still have 5,000 CDs in my personal collection. And what I tell people is where their mind gets blown. I go, every year there are thousands of releases. Everyone knows the Taylor Swift that got released this year, a new Eagles greatest hits got, but it's the other stuff that you don't know about. And so, while I know a shit ton, there's so many things. I'm like, I don't know what this band is, but it looks interesting, so I'm going to scan it. But I do. You're right. My head goes through. Okay, I've sold this 7 times. Next, I've sold this 3 times. Oh, this one sat far too long and I couldn't sell it. I'm not buying that. But what are these 20 interesting looking CDs that I'm not really sure who these artists are? But I know the record label. It's a cool, funky indie label kind of thing. So yeah. So I use my phone all the time, even though I know a shit ton. I still use it all the time because there's so much music. Like my friend gave me his record collection of 70s and 80s to sell for him. And I think I'm good in that music too. I I would say I knew one of every 20 records, the band. I'm like, who are now? These are bands that had one record and went nowhere, didn't have a hit, but that's the kind of weird shit that people want to pay big money for. And I'm just like, I am shocked how much music came out in the 70s and 80s that I've never heard of. Never.
And that's why you look it up. You're like,
Yep.
because no one knows. Even the biggest music nerds don't know. And like, I'm probably gonna watch this back because you kind of said it perfectly. You're like, I'm gonna look up these ones because they stand out. They're interesting. There's something about them that's like triggering some kind of memory. Like, oh, I think that's a good label. I think I've sold stuff from these guys before. There's something that looks similar to, like, I have a feeling about these items. And like all the other items, you're like, and you might be wrong, right? You might have like gone through some things and like, whoa, I did not know that this one was actually valuable. It looks like cheap junk. It's actually a very rare variation of something that is common, but because it has the UPC on the wrong side, then it's a special edition that the collector's looking for. Who knows, right? And you can miss some of those things, but you say, look, I'm not going to look these things up because I've seen them before. These look common, and when it comes to like music in a thrift store, like you can see the same CDs over
Oh yeah.
and over and over again. And if you see them at every single store and no one else is buying them to flip, then they're probably not going to be worth flipping, even if they were free. So then you have this other pile where maybe you go through a thrift store, or you go through a record store, and you pull these things. You're like, you know what? If I had to guess blind, these would be the ones that I would guess. But the cool thing is we don't have to guess. Like you do that initial guess, and then you take your phone and you verify. Now, if it's super cheap, honestly, like if it was and I did this. I went to a book sale and they had no service. It was actually the standard textbook. Well, what if you go to a book sale in the basement of a library and have no service? Hey, that happens. I've been to
Oh
multiple
yeah.
sales like that, and you have to buy blind. But I see so many people who say, "Oh, if I can't look it up, I won't buy it." I was like, "This is a book sale at a library. Okay, everything's $1, including like DVD box sets are $1. Like, you really gotta like, well, I don't know if this 15 season Full House box set is worth more than $1. Well, you know what? You can either like just go upstairs and look it up, right? Go out to your car and look it up, or you just buy it for $1,
But the
right?
other
Like,
the other way to handle that, and here's a little hack.
I know Full House wasn't 15 seasons before anybody like goes
Right,
crazy.
right. Here's a little hack. If your significant other or your assistant is somewhere at a computer, pop in your headset and call them if there's enough reception for the phone call. Don't FaceTime. It takes up way too much bandwidth. Call them and then just read them the barcodes.
Yeah, the old school style.
Yeah, because before smartphones, one day it dawns on me, oh my God, because I would go to record stores and I would try and figure out the good stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, I can call Stacy. So I would call her office and I would read through all these barcodes. And one day I had like a stack of 40. She goes, I'm working at my job, right? Like, I'm like, well, so am I. But yeah. And then the day the smartphone got invented, she was like, thank God, no more calling me with barcodes.
I don't know if I told you some of the stories I've heard about the original book scanning. Like people did some crazy things. People used to bring a tent to a book sale, and they would like have a team, and they would all rush in and grab like textbooks or anything that looked like just stacks of anything that looked interesting, and put them all in the tent. And then have someone in the tent with like a rudimentary like cell phone, like like the little flip phones, and they would have some kind of system where they were texting barcode numbers and UPCs and ISBNs to somebody at home who was looking them up on the internet and sending all this stuff back. I was like, oh my gosh, like in a way that would have been fun to do like once, right? To like just kind of have the experience of like, oh, look how we're kind of hacking and we're using all the accessible technology that we have, and putting stuff in a tent and not letting anybody else buy it is a little. I'm not really down with that part. The rest of it, the technology side, hey, good hustle, right? But now we got it all in our like right here, like
Yep.
the scanner, the barcode scanner, simply in the eBay app, which is completely free, is incredible. It's fast. I try to take a screenshot of the barcode scanner scanning a barcode just so I have like a screenshot of that process, and it scans so fast that I have to like keep the barcode blurry so that I can take a screenshot.
You should take a video and then that split
That's a
second
better
before it
idea.
happens, you could take that screenshot. It won't be as clear, but you'll at least get what you want,
I should have thought of that. You have so many good ideas, Jason.
I'm full of them. But here's the idea I'm fullest of. If you're in the thrifting board and you sign up using this link right down here, you could win this shirt tonight. This is a police synchronicity shirt from I think around 1983. OG, legit, old school police shirt. in Chris's hands, and someone from the thrifting board who signs up tonight is going to win this. You can, as Chris says, keep it or flip it.
And this is a factory yellow, which I believe is a rare version of this. It doesn't have a date on it, but I'm pretty sure this is 82, 83, 84.
Yeah, I think synchronicity. Whoa. All right, yeah, there it is. Very faded, but you can definitely tell it's old.
This is definitely original.
This ain't no Target repop from 2021.
No. This is amazing. I mean, you could frame this. I mean, Amazon sells T-shirt picture frames.
Punch your camera, would you? Thank you.
It'll come back.
Man, it don't like you.
Oh, come on. Really, camera?
Yes, you need to sign up, Frank, or you won't get a link.
There we go.
You will need to sign up or you don't get a link.
Yep, so I will be pulling the winner for this shirt tonight on the webinar. And like Jason said, this is like the coolest part about finding prizes like this, or finding things like this to use as prizes, is you can keep it or you can flip it. You can keep it and wear it and then flip it. You can keep it and wear it and then put it in a T-shirt frame up on your wall in your home bar or music den or whatever you have. You can show it off to your friends. You could give it as a gift, or you could just literally sell it on eBay and keep the money. You'll have no problem selling this. There is nothing like this on eBay right now. I think there might have been a white one that showed up on WorthPoint, but not a true sleeveless. This is not a cutoff sleeveless. This is a factory sleeveless, factory yellow, rare edition, the Police Watching You Synchronicity Tour shirt. I wish I could read the tag, but it is beat. I don't believe it's not Screen Stars, but it's.
Let me tell you my quick police story. So, prior to the Eagles getting back together, concert tickets never really got above, like, the biggest stars were charging $50 back then, and this is in the '90s, early '90s, mid '90s. And so the Eagles get back together, and I'd never seen them, and I love their music. And back then, Glenn Frey was still alive. Joe Walsh was in the band. It was great. And tickets were $100. And I said to Stace, let's go. And she goes, I am not paying $100 for a concert. That's ridiculous. So my uncle and I went. We had third row tickets for $100. And, to see all that music live and those harmonies and those guitar licks, it was amazing. Cut to 8 years later, the Police get back together. We end up paying $250 a ticket. And I looked at her and go, hey, how's that $100 for the Eagles sound right about now? Yeah.
It's hard to imagine. Like David just sold, he had an extra Drake ticket that he sold, and like hundreds of dollars for like not close seats either. Or I can only imagine like third row Drake like on his tour, or like Beyonce's touring right now, Taylor Swift is touring right now. It's
that's
insane.
That's a flip.
You can't get in the door for $100.
Yeah, that's a flip game that you could make a lot of money if you have the knowledge. I got so excited that Sammy Hagar was playing at my favorite concert venue in Vegas. I told Stace, Sammy's playing the Pearl. Got tickets. Then I looked at our calendar. We already have a concert that night. And it's a band I've only seen once, where I've already seen Sammy like 30 times. And so Sammy's concert sold out so fast, I put him up a StubHub, and within like 3 days, I made $200. Probably could have held out for a little bit more, but it's one of those things where I don't want to get stuck with 2 sets of tickets for the same night. So, but I go, wow, that was a quick, easy $200. That was easy.
There's a whole flip game you can play with concert tickets, and like that's part of. I mean, the flip game that I wrote about is really the yard sale, estate sale, thrift store type find. You resell primarily eBay, Facebook Marketplace. Of course, you can do Craigslist. You can do some of the other sites if you want, but you can play flip games with concert tickets. It's like it's arbitraging anything. It's saying, look, yep, I can buy something more like less expensive over here, and it's going to sell for more over here on this other website because it's rare, because it's going to sell out, because I predict by the time it gets closer to an event, it's going to be in higher demand, whatever it might be. And you'll win some, and you'll lose some. But if you know how to play the game properly, then overall you end up making money. You're like, this is kind of easy. I'm just like buying and selling other people's stuff. It has its limitations, but it's also fairly risk-free if you know what you're doing. And especially like the eBay flip game, like you have your phone, right? There really should never be a time where you get home and be like, I thought this item was worth $300, and turns out it's worth $5. Like that shouldn't happen. But even if it does, if you only pay $2 for it, it's a very inexpensive lesson to learn. Instead of like I paid hundreds of dollars for this item and it turns out it's worthless. Like hopefully, I really hope that never happens. That's more of an expensive lesson. But even if it does happen, it's still just a lesson. Um, but the upside of learning how to do this is, hey, when you need to, you may not always want to go out to thrift stores and yard sales. You may be like, hey, you know what? Let's go on that vacation. Like, hey, that guy's coming to town for a concert. I'm not really down with paying $700, but you know what? I'll pay $700 if I can flip some stuff for the next 3 weekends and make $700. And that now you're motivated to go out and make some money and get a concert ticket that you might not normally have in the budget, kind of thing,
Yeah.
right? And you can turn it on and turn it off when you want to, and justify things and have uh, vacation funds or whatever you want to do with the money. And on top of it, it's fun. And if you enjoy the flip game, like Jay said, no, like me and you will go to the thrift store. We'll just have fun, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
you don't buy anything. Like, we didn't even buy anything. We were just in there for 2 hours, taking pictures, looking stuff up, sending pictures to people, like just enjoying it and having fun. And the fact that you can also find things that are literally worth hundreds of dollars and sell them on eBay for a profit while having fun, like it seems backwards sometimes. Like, really, are we allowed to make money having this much fun? Because I'm having a great time finding things to resell. Just the process of looking it up, like that treasure hunt aspect to it. That's the reason that, like, you know, storage wars and shows like that are popular, because there is this kind of treasure. Like, what are they going to find? Oh my gosh, did you see what that thing was worth? Like, that theme is in every single show, because I don't know, it's got to be in like people's DNA somewhere. Uh, this like treasure hunting aspect. Like people are fascinated by pirates of all kinds. Like, just the we're going to go out and look for treasure kind of thing. Like, I don't know, it's universal in some sense. There's probably some psychological reason.
The Facebook user says the website hasn't been updated to reflect today's date.
Oh, good. I appreciate that update. I will change that. But when you do sign up on that page, so on flips.net/Jason, you will get an automated email that will send you to the webinar. And there will be another email going out. If you sign up on that page, you'll get the right information.
Do you know who the ultimate treasure hunter was?
It was like Caruso or something, or
Nope.
Like that kind of treasure hunter?
Well, yes, that kind of treasure, but no. This started in the 1970s, and he was American and from Florida. His name was Mel Fisher, and he knew a ship laden full of gold and jewels called the Atocha had wrecked off the Florida Keys in like the 1600s. And he said, I'm going to go find that, because no one ever found it. And so it's one of those things where, did it really happen? Was it really full? And so he had normal people like you and I invest. And when you invested, you would spend a week working on the boat, basically vacuuming the bottom of the ocean floor looking for jewels. And then if and when he found it, you would get your money back plus interest. So that's how he paid for it. So he did it for like, I don't know, 10 years. And then one day he finds it. And the first day he brings up $6 million.
Oh, geez.
Gold and jewels. And the state of Florida goes, oh, we're going to keep that. And he's like, F off. So they went to court for a while. He gave the state like $2 million and they effed off. And so he has since passed on, but his son is taking over the mantle, and they still find treasure today.
Oh, geez. Yeah. That's got to be fun. Fun job.
I mean, we all treasure hunt in one way or another. That's actual treasure hunting, but he was determined. And I brought that up because, Chris is determined to teach y'all how to better use this so you can be a better thrifter and do things like buy an entire extra house for your eBay business, that kind of stuff. And so when you get to that skill level, when you find the gold and jewels on the bottom of the ocean floor, then you've made it and you can really scale up from that point.
Exactly. Like you can make significant money with this, but it's this rare type of business where you can work it as hard as you want and you can stop, right? You can just pause, you can go on vacation, you do whatever you want. And you say, look, I'm going to ramp it up a little bit. Hey, it's summertime. I'm going to hit the yard sales hard this year. Or like, man, there's a lot of estate sales over the next 3 weeks. I'm going to go to all those. Like there's not many other ways to legitimately put money in your pocket that have all of these same kind of characteristics.
And quickly, if you find the right thing and put the right price, you quickly can turn your $2 investment into $100 in your pocket, essentially.
Yeah. Facebook Marketplace makes it even easier, like to literally get cash the same day.
Yeah.
Right. eBay, you're not getting cash same day, although like the daily payouts are kind of nice. I kind of like that.
Oh yeah.
It's certainly a lot faster than waiting for a money order in the mail.
Quarters taped to a piece of paper.
Oh, those old days. And like most of us don't even have like pictures or any way to document any of those things because like we didn't take pictures of our setup. I didn't like take photographs of
No, I have nothing.
going
Like,
to the bank with my money orders. Like
yep,
we didn't take selfies of that. So
nothing back then. But yeah, the memories, the memories. All right,
the
get signed
OGs
up.
know.
Get signed up for tonight. You get the free webinar tonight. You'll get the free Kindle book as soon as Chris has it ready. There was a little bit of a delay. And one of y'all from the Thrifting Board is going to win this kick-ass vintage police shirt that you can wear it or flip it.
It's so soft too. Like it's that soft bit around, you know.
Yep, been around the block a minute. So get signed up, flips.net/Jason. And we'll see you tonight. I'll be in the audience and we'll hang out and have a good time.
See you guys.
And with that, I'll say goodbye. It's time to go do some work. Have a good day, everybody. Bye-bye.